Alrighty, everybody, welcome to Casual Sports Talk Podcast, postseason NFL edition. And now we got our special guest right over here who said that Humpty Dumpty McCarthy is now going to be part of the standard. Here's Tree.
Thank you for joining us again. What an honor.
Yeah, you had to introduce me like that.
Yeah, Humpty Dumpty
Come on, man. I don't want to hear about Mike McCarthy. I'm sorry. I'm going over all the talking points that I've heard over the last month. Did you know that he grew up in Greenfield, which is a suburb in Pittsburgh? You know his dad was a firefighter and a bartender. Do you know his dad owned a bar in Greenfield? Did you know Mike McCarthy cleaned the bar on Sundays before church? Did you know he slept in his car when he was a graduate assistant at Pitt? It's just like it's the same stuff.
Sounds like a Super Bowl win to me.
Yeah, we're going a 7-9 Super or like a 9-8 Super.
Oh, don't worry. You'll go 10-7 and then get embarrassing loss in the postseason. That's always true.
10-7. It could be a different time. It could be something like 10-6 or 7-10. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's an opposite. Who knows? Because we're apparently running it back with Aaron Rodgers again, which is great.
I mean, that is your only hope. I do agree with you. And your previous pod, you talked about that. It's like, who do you guys back up another option? Like,
there's nobody else out there, and the problem is, it's what else is out there?
There's nothing. I just feel like there's nothing. Right.
It's Tua, Kyler, Geno Smith. The rookie. This was supposed to be a really good quarterback. Remember this time last year? We were talking about how great the 2026 class was supposed to be. We were talking about Cade Klubnik, Drew Aller, Arch Manning. We had Dante Moore out there, Trinidad Shameless, a few other guys as well. Nussmeier was one that was looked at that was pretty good, and they're all gone. Like Fernando Mendoza came out of nowhere, and he's the only one that's any good. And Ty Simpson, I'm not crazy about Ty Simpson. Like I just think he's little too volatile for me.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, we'll always see how it goes. Because, like I said, sometimes we're right, and sometimes we got eggs on our face. I mean, don't get me started on when I thought Mahomes draft. That was not big. I screwed that up.
I mean, well, Mahomes, like I shot for the middle. I thought he would either be like kind of in that good or terrible thing, but yeah. It's definitely one of the moments of our time.
Yes. And now we got our two other people, as always, in our podcast who still, at least, is still part of the Browns, even though they're still part of the Factory of Sadness. Here's Christopher.
Let's go AFC North, baby. It's good to have a Steelers fan and a Browns fan on the same podcast. Let's do it.
Oh, Lord. Who's more down in the dumps right now? Probably the Browns.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, like Mike McCarthy, I still feel confident about the Steelers having either a winning record or close to winning record. I project the Browns.
Is that really what the Steelers need? That's the only problem.
True, yeah, for the future, not just this upcoming season. Yeah, with the Browns, though, their over-under wins for last season was 4.5. I don't know what it is this year or if they even came out with anything, but I think I might have said it on last week's podcast. I said, well, I'm ready for a 6-11 finish for the 2026 season. Let's do it.
But the good news is, Chris, you got a Pro Bowler, Shedeur Sanders, generational talent.
Hey,
right?
We mentioned on last week's podcast. Let's go.
It's just the Pro Bowl right now. I'm just sitting there like, that guy made a Pro Bowl.
and Joe Flacco.
Hey, Pro Bowl Joe Flacco. I mean, at least that one you can get behind. He at least had his moments last year.
Yes. And then finally, we got our friend Douglas right over here, who is still hoping that the Lions can at least do better next year, even though they were kind of mid. Here's Douglas.
I have the utmost confidence. And
I'd say out of all four of us, Stuart with the Cowboys, me with the Browns, Tree with the Steelers, Doug with the Lions. If I had to put my money on it, I'd probably say Doug with the Lions would probably be the most successful team for next season.
I think the Lions will grow from this, and it'll be amazing to see, Stu. We'll wax the Cowboys for a third straight year if we play them.
No, you do not want that. That was an awful game. Don't get me started on that, Tree.
I think you guys have given up, 95 points or so the last two seasons to Mr. Goff?
That was awful.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. I didn't do the actual math, but that's an estimate.
That was the worst game, Tree. I gotta say, last 3 games against the Lions were awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
Really.
But anyway, gentlemen, we're going to talk about the teams that made the postseason. So last week we talked about the teams that sucked ass, all 3 of our teams. And now we get to talk about the teams that made the postseason, what they can do for next year, and kind of give them the final report card grade right over here in this one. And we'll start out with the first one, the lowest one. We got the Carolina Panthers, who went 8-9. They did make it to the postseason. Interestingly enough, I think me and Douglas did not pick them to make the postseason. Interestingly enough, I believe you did not pick them to make the postseason. Is that correct?
I did. No, I mean, I had Tampa Bay out of that division.
We had Tampa Bay too. Unfortunately, yeah, we thought they were going to win a playoff game, and oh boy, that was disappointing. But hey, at least
if you were like at the end of September, you at least had a shot at that happening. Now, after, no.
But I guess we'll start with you, Tree, like over here. So, like I said, usually at this point, we've got to cut it in half. Does this team deserve the 5 and being like that this was a football hell, this division was trash? Or do you give them a nice, pitiful 6 because they got close to the Rams by 3?
I'll give them a pitiful 6 because nobody really expected them to make it that far. They were mostly benefiting from an imploding division. Atlanta choked again. The Saints are kind of in their own hell, and they just hope that Tyler Shough is the real deal. He did do well down the stretch. And then Tampa Bay just imploded in so many amazing ways that it's unbelievable to conceive to the human mind. But in terms of Carolina, my problem is like you didn't know what they were. They were either really good or absolutely terrible. There was no in between. I figured they would fight. There is something they can build on here. I don't know if they're going to get back, but they do need a lot of work to do, especially in terms of consistency. But I would give them 6.
Man, there's still a part of me. I'm like, man, I want to give them a 5 just because of that division. But I will say, I'll give you credit. They were only 3 points behind the Rams. And that is a really good, and this Rams team was really good with Stafford. I'll give them a little bit of credit right there, but I'm like, this division was like bad. And I will also say, I know we're talking about, we'll talk about the Patriots when we talk about like a team that I felt like where everyone's like soft schedule. They made it postseason. You know who also had a tough schedule? Tampa. Last 6 games. Under teams farther than 500, and they won 1.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Their whole defense just vanished. It was weird.
It was I thank God I'm not a Buccaneers fan, but I would be so pissed about this. Like they should have easily made this should have almost been a guarantee.
Yeah, and most important, embarrassingly, Todd Bowles is still there, which is I don't know.
Why? What? I don't man, those are like the 2 teams I'm just so upset. That and also the Bengals still did not fire their coach. I'm like, why?
They didn't fire anybody.
No. That's even worse. Like I really felt like that they felt like, oh, Joe Burrow was hurt. That was it. I was like, did you see the defense? 31st worst in the nation in the whole NFL. But anyway, Christopher, we'll start with you. So how do you feel about the Panthers overall? And you're probably
I mean, they made the playoffs. They won the division in ugly fashion. Give me a 6. They have a young team. So I know we know Mike Evans is going to return for his 13th season next season with the Buccaneers. So maybe that'll change things up in the NFC South. But yeah, like I said, the Panthers' young team. They got the offensive rookie of the year, and I can't pronounce his name. Just call him Tet McMillan. So yeah, and yeah, I know we've had our differences. We've had our opinions about Bryce Young. He's still young, last name and age-wise. He's 24. So maybe they could do it again, win the division. Hopefully, the NFC South will start turning a tide and actually have a team with a winning record to win the division. It's not pretty when you have an 8-9 team taking the reins of the division title.
No, it's not. I mean, I agree. I mean, they got to be a 6, but I mean, So I like FPI a lot, and I don't really know why, but I looked over the end of year rankings, and they had Carolina all the way down at 24th. That's pretty concerning that they were a playoff team and they were that low. Obviously benefited from a nice schedule, but I mean I think it's a big year for Bryce Young because it's I don't know, it's a big year to see his development. Can he be consistent? Like Tree mentioned, because there's flashes of potential. You go into Green Bay, you win that game. You beat the Rams at home, took them, tested them to the limit in the playoffs. But you just
run out of town.
Yeah, then they also lost, I think, 31-0 to Atlanta, right? Or do I have that backwards? I feel like they got then there's games that are just shocking. So
yeah,
I don't know. 6 feels good.
I mean, yeah, I do feel like this team is going to be. I will say it when we go to August and we're going to talk about the NFC South. It's going to be interesting on who we're going to pick for the team that was going to get the 6, because it's
division in the NFL. I think you can make a case for all 4 teams fairly easily. I think.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, probably even the shitty fucking Saints, but still.
I mean, like I said last week, Saints are projected to get Jeremiah Love running back out of I don't even know college-wise off the top of my head.
Notre Dame, dude. Notre Dame.
If you're right. Yeah, thanks. Notre Dame. So they have Tyler Shuck. He'll be in his second year. If they get Jeremiah Love, if he could be identical to the young, wow, I'm drawing a blank here. Kamara. If he could be identical to Kamara, the Saints could easily be in contention and talks to for the NFC South title. Like you guys said, maybe all 4 teams could be in contention.
Because if you just talk momentum too, Carolina collapsed on the stretch. Atlanta finished good. New Orleans finished good. The Panthers were good enough to make the playoffs. It's all 3 teams except the Buccaneers have a reason to be excited about, how they ended the season at least.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting in this one, indeed, in this one. And now we got when I speak of collapses, the Packers, which, oh my goodness. I remember when we talked about it in our podcast, and I remember I quoted that tweet with you, Tree, when Michael Parsons is out, you said bye-bye Super Bowls. And I was like, I quoted that, and I was like, I hate to say it, I have to agree. I think that was it. It would be interesting to see if this team, if they did have Michael Parsons, could they made it to that Super Bowl on that one?
I don't know.
I don't think they were away from the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think the problem is they lost too many pieces otherwise. It wasn't just Parsons they lost. They had lost Tucker Kraft, who was pretty much their offense for a long stretch of time. They had lost Elton Jenkins, who was pretty much the anchor of their offensive line. Zach Tom had been dealing with injuries in and out. Devontae Wyatt was also a big injury. That pretty much destroyed their ability to stop the run, and that really showed against the Ravens later on. So it wasn't just Parsons, but Parsons was just the death knell.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the way they the way they lost to the team they lost to, that is a loss that devastates franchises. Chicago will never, ever let them live this down.
Oh, no. Especially when Ben Johnson was screaming out, "Fuck the Packers." I was like, as someone that was a Cowboys fan that had been tortured years upon years against the Packers, I had to say it. There's a part of me that was in my little soul, I was like, yeah, root for it. Yeah, screw the Packers. They can go to hell in that one.
And my favorite part is all the Packers fans flipping out and being just suddenly bitchy about him saying that. It's weren't you guys cheering Aaron Rodgers doing the whole "I still own you" thing?
Oh yeah, he's like, "I own you for my whole fucking career."
Yeah, and Green Bay love that shit. It's okay. Yeah, are we being hypocritical now? Okay, cool.
Well, like I said, when you talk shit, be prepared. When the reckoning comes, it's going to get 10 times fold. And I'm just saying that. So we'll start with you, Christopher. How do you feel about the Packers overall? And
give them a 6. They didn't make it past the first round of the playoffs. Lost in heartbreaking fashion. We all know the 28-3 score of the Falcons being up 25 to the Patriots in that Super Bowl. I don't know what's worse. Obviously, the Super Bowl loss, being up by 25.
Oh, it's a Super Bowl.
But then this game, we're talking about postseason. Bears versus Packers. Packers were up 21-6, and man, that's just like you guys said. The Bears fans will never let the Packers live that one down. So yeah, I'm comfortable with the 6. And like Tree said, they're missing a lot of they were missing a lot of pieces towards the end of the season. So yeah, if they can bounce back, have a healthy roster, yeah, maybe they could make moves going into next season. And hopefully, make it past the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, it'll be exciting when we talk about the NFC North come August.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I think this NFC North is going to be wild next year. Like if everybody gets healthy, like what a fun division. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. And I know we should probably talk about this with Tree. Do you think they should keep the Packers head coach right now? I know they're going to keep him, but
I thought they should have let him go just because it was a situation where he was on the searing hot seat. It was the way they lost. I think that's what really did them in. But the problem is, like, they decided to extend him, so it's like, okay, fine. And there were so many openings, they probably figured, yeah, there's no point in swapping him for somebody like, say, a Sean McDermott. Would that have really worked? I don't know.
No, but like I said, Tree, you're probably going to still think of them as the 6. Funny enough, last year we gave them the 6 last year. At the end of the season, we gave them the 6 last year. Preseason, I think we basically all picked them to make the postseason. Funny enough, I picked them to win the division. Douglas picked the Lions to win that division, and then I'm trying to think. Did you pick Tree? Did you pick them to make win the division?
I did Detroit, yes.
Yeah.
And I finished dead last. Figures.
Go figures. Go figure.
Mm.
Man, those darn Vikings. It's like, zebras get effed by lions. Just saying, Douglas. I guess that's your favorite thing.
Oh, yeah. That has been a classic. Zebras always get banged by lions.
Yes, Douglas this season, and then you can probably just make fun of my boys all the time. Just saying. There's always next year. Just saying.
So that's the nice thing. Thankfully, the Lions won that one out of their 8. Thankfully, one of them was a beat down to the Cowboys.
Oh, that was awful. I'm just saying, maybe next year we could get better. Just saying. Can a boy have hope?
As I said, the cope is that you have a defense. I think that's part of it now. Because I listen to what Scooter says. So Scooter is my go-to for Cowboy cope. So that's the thing. It's that we had a terrible defense. Now we're getting a real defensive coordinator. And who knows from there?
I mean, we could win division. We'll see when we get to the end of the year.
I like the Giants divisions too. Even the Giants run they're gonna beat you guys twice.
No.
Harbaugh and Jason Darts do what a combo.
Harbaugh is gonna probably have a big lead and blow in the fourth quarter, just like he always does. Just
not when they got Scadaboo and Malik Neighbors.
No. Lies. Yes. You can quote tweet me. You can put all that stuff. That is not going to happen. Not going to happen by the end of the year.
Never know.
I did mention last week's podcast Deshaun Watson comeback player of the year, but that was a joke. Well, never leave it out of the picture. But I'd probably go Malik Neighbors comeback player of the year.
I'm rooting for James Pierce comeback player of the year in about 3 or 4 years once he's out of jail.
Maybe Rishi Rice could be comeback of the year after his legal troubles right over here. But anyway, we could probably talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars right over here. Close game, but couldn't get it right over there. Lost that one. But I will say it was improvement. I listened to our preseason Tree when we talked about it, and you said this is the make and break year for Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. Honestly, he made it. Like, honestly, this was a very successful season on this one. Yeah,
so we'll see. 1,000-yard passing season. Hats off to T-Law. Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we'll start with you, Douglas. So what was your thoughts on the Jacksonville Jaguars this season?
We got to get back to Atlantic City to celebrate with T-Law, it sounds like.
Yeah, I should explain it. So I should explain the story. So there was a fake person that looked like Trevor Lawrence when we went to Atlantic City, and we were all like, I was like joking, it's like that's Trevor Lawrence right there in 2021.
I was so convinced until afterwards I thought I had met Trevor Lawrence. But oh well.
Oh well. So,
but I mean, honestly, controversial take. I'm going to give them a 7. It's
What?
high because they lost a game, but I mean, they were fantastic. Like, it was just a shame that they got matched up against the Bills and all of that. Like, I think they were one of the best teams in the AFC and very easily could have made a Super Bowl run, and if they had a different first round matchup.
Mm-hmm.
yes. And then we'll start with you, Tree, on this one. What is your thoughts on the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I thought they had a strong season. I had them going to the Super Bowl. They had tremendous momentum. I think their defense was making strides receiving wise. The drops had really been limited since they brought in Jacoby Myers. When they brought him in, I think it really helped them out. That's why they extended him. They have a solid dual threat running game with Bashal Tutin and Travis Etienne. And Lawrence was playing the best football of his career. But I mean, and also I didn't really like Buffalo. I thought their run defense was really suspect. But for whatever reason, I mean, they got greedy early on. They had a few ball don't lie moments. And Trevor Lawrence threw a bad pick on the final drive. And that's just all she want. But it's a year you can have progress on. It's not as lightly uninspired as the Dougie P era was, especially later on. So I think they could do something here, but it's more or less just trying to figure out like how to pick up the pieces. So I would say it's a solid year for them.
Could you imagine if Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter come back on really strong, and then like that offense could be fun if that all clicks.
Not
Brian
to
Thomas
knock
has
your
to find hands.
Yeah, not to knock your comment there, Doug, but it was like last week at some point they said Mr. Travis Hunter is going to be focused as a cornerback this season. You might see a couple reps at the receiver position, but yeah, what a first round overall pick to get a cornerback. You know, great pick.
Oh, yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, but I guess I should ask you, do you feel like this team, you know, even though they did lose a playoff, they did not win a playoff game. Do you think they deserved that 7? And feel like this team was?
I think they do. I would say so.
Honestly, I kind of do. You know what? The more like originally, I was like, I don't know if I agree with you. Honestly, I kind of changed my mind right over here, and I'm like, I think this was a very good team. I feel like if they did come close. They did do well. I think there's definitely a lot more improvements. This definitely makes me think, because I remember a couple years ago when people were like talking about in like the Twitter spaces and YouTube spaces that were like, you know, oh, they overpaid Trevor Lawrence contract. Like, you know, there was like I forgot who, there was like one YouTuber that was like talking about like overpaid contracts. And one of them was like Trevor Lawrence and Dak Prescott on that list. I kind of feel like now it's kind of proven maybe he was actually deserved that pay for that one. And then we'll start with you, Christopher. What is your thoughts?
I agree with everything you guys said. Now, before Doug even mentioned a 7, I was going with that because, yeah, it's unfortunate you play Josh Allen in the first round of playoffs. So I'm not sure how many years it's been in a row where Josh Allen has won the first round to make it to the second round. But, yeah, going up against the Bills is tough. Besides the Houston Texans during the regular season, Jacksonville had, you know, like I said, besides the Texans, they had the longest winning streak at 8 games to finish out the season. Yeah, Jaguars look tough. We mentioned it in a couple of our podcasts that they easily could have made the Super Bowl had they got past the Bills. I like what Trevor Lawrence is doing. Like you guys said, young wide receiver core. Brian Thomas, as long as he comes back, you know, Etienne as the running back. So yeah, I'm comfortable with 7. They should be top in the AFC South next year.
Oh, what a fun division too! What another fun division.
I honestly feel like that's gonna be a fun division. We'll see how the Colts do for next year. We'll see if they can finally not collapse. But honestly, everybody like Houston looks really good. Jacksonville, the Titans, yeah, they sucked ass. You know, they were ass. But we'll see how they do next year. But I definitely do enjoy this division. I think the Jaguars could get bump up, maybe win a playoff game. Maybe we'll see how that one. We'll see how that team goes. And then, Tree, I want to sing a beautiful song. It is one of my favorite songs. I know Douglas and Chris hate this song, but I like to call it right over here. It's called "A Team from Pennsylvania are frauds. And it goes like this. The Eagles are frauds. The Eagles are frauds. A.J. Brown, get goodbye. Nick Sirianni is a hack because this teams are frauds. And yes, they are.
That was about as rough as the Eagles' offense under Kevin Patullo. So it fits. Just saying.
Yes. You're telling me I should not quit my day job and be a singer.
Well, all I'm going to say is that beat dropped like an A.J. Brown pass in the fourth quarter.
Let's start with your tree. How do you feel about the Eagles at the end of the season?
The problem is, like, everyone saw their issue from a mile away. It was their offense. Their defense was incredible. But the problem is they can never solve their offense. And there's a sect that blames Jalen Hurts. There's a sect that blames Sirianni. Everyone blamed Kevin Patullo. But the reality is that they didn't ever actually make a change. Sirianni kept with his best friend in Patullo and refused to make a change. And it squandered their whole team. And honestly, I was hoping I had them winning against the Niners, but still, it's not like they didn't exactly deserve to win. And at this point, I think someone like an A.J. Brown, I think he might be out of Philadelphia, especially with the stuff he pulled this year about like him whining about his catches, and then he suddenly does that in the final game. It's like, yeah, that's a signal to get the hell out. Welcome to Buffalo or San Francisco, buddy.
That was just honestly, that was just a great. That is probably my least favorite thing about pro players. It's like when you complain you don't get this and you don't get that and you don't get it, and then you pull that in a postseason game against a team, mind you, that is injured to all hell. It wasn't like it was Grant, give credit to San Francisco. They won this game. They looked good. But it wasn't like 100% San Francisco team.
No, nowhere close. They didn't have a defense.
Yeah. And you pulled and you laid that egg. Like, honestly, I hate to say it, Tree. I think when we do next season with the Eagles, I don't know if I feel confident if I'm going to pick them as division winners. Hot take.
Stu, it's not a hot take because you do that every single year.
I don't know if I call it a hot take. It's just a take.
Well, Stu is sizzling over here. Sizzling take. He hates the Eagles.
Surprise, everyone.
Wow, what a hot take. The hottest of the takes.
Hey. If they go 5-12, I would love it in a heartbeat. That would be like the greatest feeling. That would be like my Christmas present. I hope for that. I hope, they say bench Jalen Hurts, fire Sirianni, and then it's going to be like, oh, same old Eagles as always. So we'll start with you, Christopher.
Yeah, like you said, A.J. Brown should be on the move. I have a coworker I work with that he's a huge Eagles fan, and he strongly agrees that A.J. Brown is out the door. So if he goes to the 49ers, if you can't beat them, might as well join them, since they lost 23-19 in the first round of the playoffs. Their offense was bottom 10. Their defense was top 10. I always say, you need a good mixture of both good defense and good offense to be successful. I don't see that offense. I mean, hey, 2 years ago? Yeah, Saquon had, I don't know if he was the MVP. I don't think he was the MVP regular season, but he had an MVP-like season. If he can do that next year, then maybe your hot takes, Stu, won't be too prosperous. But yeah, I just don't see the Eagles doing anything next year. But they made the playoffs this year. They won the division. Good for them. Give me a 6.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I agree with everything Chris said up until the end. I think the Eagles win the Super Bowl again next year and everything.
No.
I mean, they're a solid 6. I mean, kind of a flop in the playoffs. Like, you thought maybe they would figure it out like they have in the past and just kind of click, but the chemistry was not there this year. So on to the next one.
Hey, I will always say, me and Tree can go the alliance and be the anti-Eagles empire because that team deserves nothing but failure and sadness.
I think
they have a few Super Bowl titles recently too.
Okay. It's been 30 years. Okay, I have to go on Netflix and watch my Cowboys win their Super Bowls. I'm just saying. It's been hard out here. I mean, I still said a Tree. I support a cognitive test for Mr. Jerry Jones for all his picks and saying all in.
I think that's how it just is. Jerry Jones wants to live to win as many Super Bowls as Bill Belichick. He will live to 120. I hope he lives forever. He is generational comedy.
No, you want him to be like the Futurama head, and he's just there for 3005, just like
I think Cowboys fans would love that.
No, that is a pain worse than death. I don't want
up this technology, Stu. It needs to get here fast.
No, I don't want that technology. I don't want it. Please. Can
Yes,
I?
You want it.
I don't
want it.
No. I
mean,
want
him being a multi-billionaire, he should have some sort of pill or some sort of medication he's taking to live until, like Tree said, 120 years of age, and be that Cowboys owner for until we die.
That would be fantastic. Further, like until the heat death of the earth, and even then, the only thing that will survive is Jerry Jones going all in. He's going all in on the earth. He's going all in.
Jerry Jones will be the ruler of the world.
Yes.
I'll figure it out a way. Even in 3,000 billion years, I will still win. My boys will still win a Super Bowl. In that way.
When you're 6 feet under, Stu, that's when the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl next.
No. Why? I just don't understand. Why has everyone got to be trolling my boys? It's been hard. It's been hard out
talking
here.
about the Eagles, then we jump to the Cowboys. Funny how that always happens.
I think I started it. I usually start it. So that was not bad.
Yes, somehow I get very triggered by this. It's not fun. It is not fun indeed in this one. And speaking of teams that are sad and not fun, the LA Chargers lost 16 points against the Patriots, and their 12 fans were so sad that they didn't make a postseason, that they did not win a playoff game. Mm-hmm. Yes. So we'll start. This is actually going to be interesting because we had the good question. I remember this, Douglas. We talked about, like, is Herbert the person? Should we have Herbert, or, we think about it like the Patriots quarterback right now? Who would you want to have right now? Because I just feel like Herbert not good.
I think Herbert and Herbert feels like on the same level as like T-Law to me, where like May, I think, is already past them, like personally, like maybe a little bit too soon, but I don't know, man. Herbert granted, he has a million excuses this year though. I mean, everybody got hurt, both offensive tackles. Like it was a tough year. They lose their defensive coordinator. Like, I don't know. I mean, hopefully this offense can stay healthy and turn a corner, but will it?
Yeah, will it indeed. And so we'll start with you, Tree. What's your thoughts about the LA Chargers?
Oh, well, honestly, their offensive line was destroyed. They were built to go deep, but when you lose 2 all-pro tackles and Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, you're done. They were down to Bobby Hart, and he wasn't even close to the worst offensive lineman they had. And Justin Herbert was out there just getting killed every day. He turned into a crash test dummy. It's just, oh boy, I'm going to try and carry a team. Well, here comes 3 edge rushers that have been unblocked, and then he dies. And that's pretty much how it went. And the problem is with the Patriots offense, the Patriots have been the kryptonite of the Chargers for a very long time. And not just that, it apparently, like Robert Spillane was saying, like Chargers players came up to him and saying that they didn't have any idea what the Patriots were doing on offense, which is unbelievably damning. But at the same time, that's why Greg Roman got canned.
Yeah, I mean, that does. Now it's going to be interesting because, like I said, they're going to have the Dolphins head coach as one of the OCs right now. It's going to be interesting.
I think that's an upgrade.
I think that would be an interesting upgrade. I do like him as an OC. Granted, head coach wasn't that great this year. It was not great. I mean, to win games, you got to win games. I mean, like I said, Tree. But like I said, you're probably thinking 6 for them for the Chargers right over here. Probably maybe the weakest of the teams that didn't make it in the AFC, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
On that one. So we'll start with you, Christopher. What is your thoughts on the LA Chargers?
I agree with the 6. Tree mansplained it pretty well. Justin Herbert being a punching bag for defensive lines. Interesting that none of their running backs, none of their wide receivers had 1,000-yard seasons. So that doesn't really look too well, or not going to have to a good offensively when you're not throwing the ball, you're not running the ball too well, and you only score 3 points in a playoff game. Yeah, I mean, based on the AFC West, the way it's going, I can project that the Broncos will come and will win that division. Kansas City, we saw their true colors this season or what they're becoming. And then obviously you have the Raiders. So I expect it to be the Broncos and the Chargers again next season coming out of the AFC West and going into the playoffs.
Well, I'll do a sizzling take. I mean, I think the Chargers will do it next year, but I'll give them a 6 for this year. Like, I think if they get all the pieces back and like an offensive coordinator that can open this up. They got Ladd McConkey and they have I can't even think of their second dude's name, but he was pretty good too. Well, he's inconsistent though. What is his name? He torched Michigan in the Fiesta
Quentin
Bowl.
Johnson, because you're definitely not talking about Keenan Allen.
No, yeah, exactly. So that
Ladd
duo is
McConkey?
nice.
Ladd McConkey? You thinking of him?
Ladd and Johnston, yeah, those two. That's a nice duo. Like, there's some nice pieces there if they can just stay healthy. I like them next year, but
Johnson finally got hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's we know Quentin Johnson the last 2 years he drops all the balls, but yeah, they also had that young tight end in Gadsden. I mean we all know McConkey had a great rookie year last season. He was still the leading receiver for the Chargers this year, but yeah, not a productive season compared to last. So.
No, not a productive. I mean, granted, it's kind of funny because they basically last year they ended basically in the first playoff and get it crushed. This time they got crushed, not as bad, but still like. So we'll see. Maybe the Chargers can maybe bounce back up, and we'll see how it goes. And then, oh boy, we got to talk about it. There was one question when I thought about it last week, Tree, and I should say it. If Tomlin was going to get fired or resign or leave, and you were going to hire, your new head coach right over here, would you still want Tomlin as the head coach if that was your new choice?
Honestly, I think you just needed a new voice at that rate. But the problem is you didn't really replace Tomlin. You know the meme about the older guy with the sweater gets the same sweater, he's holding it up as a Christmas gift? That is pretty much what the Steelers did. They have somehow believed that they're like really close to a Super Bowl and evidence against all evidence to the contrary. And now we're at the point where we're going to run it back yet again when it's the last thing they should be doing. So if you look at the year they had insane luck. That's the reality of it, because Baltimore dealt with injuries and drama. No Lamar, they flat out collapsed. They missed a field goal. With the Cincinnati Bengals, they didn't have Joe Burrow, that generation of bad defense. The Cleveland Browns are the Cleveland Browns. So it's just that. If you actually look at a lot of their later games, they won 2 thanks to ref ball, you could say either or, a missed field goal, and a lot of different factors. They were 1-6 against teams that did well, that made the playoffs. And the only reason why they won that one game is because the Patriots offense self-destructed, had 5 turnovers. And that's unsustainable. So the reality is, against like really good teams, they looked sluggish, uninspired, and terrible. And that's the problem. And it showed in the playoff game too. And the only reason why they were even in that game for 3 quarters was because C.J. Stroud was shitting his pants for the entirety of the postseason. And it was even worse the week after. So the question is, okay, great, you made the playoffs, but you got your ass kicked again. So what does that do? Nothing. That's the sad thing.
Nothing and sadness right over here. So, so we give, and as always, Tree, you probably want to give them 6 sad Mike McCarthy's.
I will give them 9 and 8. Also known as
9 and 8 of disappointment on this one.
Sorry, I had to.
I just can't wait when we do the pod in August, and we're going to talk about the Steelers again, and I'm just going to be like, so Mike McCarthy now, the standard, everything's fine, right?
Everything is fine. Nothing is ruined. Welcome to the state.
Nothing's ruined.
Enjoy the stay.
You know they're going to win the Super Bowl, right? It's going to be Steelers versus.
We're going Super Bowl. Come on, I got my terrible towel right here. We're going to go Super Bowl. We're all buying the Kool-Aid again, and this is just how it's going to go.
Yes. In this one. So we'll start with you, Christopher, as a sad Browns fan. that had to deal with pain and suffering as being the Steelers. Do you hope for the sadness and destruction of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I've mentioned this definitely a few times on the podcast. As a Browns fan, I expect the Browns to be terrible. So what the other teams do, good for them, because the Browns aren't going to win the division. Probably, I don't want to say anytime soon, but I'm not going to. I don't have a magic 8 ball to see in the future. But Tree, I heard that Aaron Rodgers is not coming back, but you mentioned earlier before we started that he might be coming back.
They're apparently really interested in him coming back, and all signs are pointing to him going back.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
It just still feels weird because, like I said, I know they had a little bit of a testy relationship, McCarthy and Rodgers in Green Bay. So it's like coming back. I know it's been like 8 years since the last time, but still, I'm just like, is that gonna work out? I'm just saying. Like, and
I'm giving them a 6 though. We almost compared the NFC South to the AFC North with it being a toss up. Like I said, we take the Browns out of the equation, so we talk about the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Steelers. Yeah, and a missed field goal, or if that field goal was made by Mr. Tyler Loop, then maybe we'd be talking about the Ravens in the playoffs. But
it wouldn't have changed anything. The only thing it would have swapped was the Ravens would have gotten their asses whooped. Harbaugh would have been fired a week later. Tomlin would have stepped down a week earlier. That's all would have changed.
Right, exactly.
Especially what we know now.
Yeah, maybe next year we could have an AFC North team, making it to the second round of the playoffs. But I'm not gonna hold my breath on that one. So yeah, easy 6 for the Steelers. They weren't that good of a team. They don't deserve a 7 like we gave the Jaguars a 7, who lost a first round game. But yeah.
So you're telling me that Pro Bowl Shedeur Sanders is not going to lead you to a playoff victory?
Stuart, like I said in last week's podcast, we got Deshaun Watson, baby. He'll be back. Like I said, comeback player of the year for the 2026 NFL season.
Oh, I can hear just the false hope in your voice.
Oh yeah, I mean, I say it with a smile and a laugh. So yeah, I also did.
And I'm like, please let me die.
Was the Philadelphia pick, but my hot take was Kevin Stefanski, Coach of the Year for the Falcons, and then Deshaun Watson. Parlay with that with Deshaun Watson, comeback player of the year.
Oh, I can't wait, because then next year I'm going to be like the same thing. If Kevin Stefanski's good and does really well, I'm going to tell Chris, do you miss this man yet? Do you miss him?
I mean, I would love for you to say that, because you keep asking me about Baker Mayfield. Do I miss him? And there are times I miss Baker Mayfield. I don't think I'd really ever miss Kevin Stefanski, because I think he was just a puppet to the owners of the Browns, the Haslams. So he was on strings, being, like I said, being played by Jimmy Haslam. So if he wins Coach of the Year, I mean, they have the right tools in the Falcons organization. He could do it. Like I said last week, he coached the Browns for 6 years. 2 of those 6 years, 33% hit rate. He won Coach of the Year. So
we'll see. And then Douglas, do you have any thoughts on the Pittsburgh Steelers and their sad playoff loss again?
Nothing y'all haven't said. I mean, it's hard to see them doing anything different next year, but maybe they'll have one wonderful year with McCarthy and Rodgers, and then we can look at Stu and say, why couldn't he win one in Dallas?
No.
Blame
How
the Cowboys organization even further. So that's my only thought. Moving on.
I'm just saying this. I will say this. When Mike McCarthy was going to the Cowboys, you remember that I was so pissed about that. I was not happy, and I feel like I was vindicated. Just saying.
Well, is anybody ever happy about Mike McCarthy being their head coach? Just putting it out there.
No. And it's even worse. There's even like some people at work that are like, oh, this was a great pick. Mike McCarthy's going to change it. I'm like, he was great in Dallas. I'm like, when was he great in Dallas? I'm just saying. 12-5, okay, but still. Unless you're telling me the standard is the standard in Cowboys. But anyway, I'll get back to my ranty rant about Mr. Humpty Dumpty McCarthy. We're going to the next teams. The teams that won playoff games. And, oh boy, Christopher. Buffalo Bills. I think I want to drive to Buffalo and just they should have a new sign, and it says, Welcome to Buffalo, owned by Patrick Mahomes and the New England Patriots since 2001.
And owned by the Broncos in the 2025 season.
Yeah,
I mean, like I was saying, I don't know how many years in a row that the Broncos have made the playoffs. They win the first round, but they can't make it past the divisional round. But still, give me a 7 because obviously we all know that Josh Allen plays like an MVP, even though he's not the MVP. Josh Allen is the heart of Buffalo. You have James Cook coming in a close second to being their top offensive producer with the Bills organization. But yeah, 7. I feel like, heck, that divisional round game against the Broncos, it went to overtime. So the Bills had a chance.
Do you blame it on that bad call, allegedly, or no?
No. I don't blame it because it's like that. You had the defense. You had a few minutes. It's like the same thing I felt with last year with the Chiefs. I'm like, you still had 12 minutes left. I always say back call sometimes happens, but you still have time to recover from that in that sense. So I think it was just the defense that blew it at the end.
Honestly, I thought it was the right call because he never actually had possession of the ball. It was still not in control. So by the law of the land, that was the right call.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I always say it and even if it was a bad call, let's just say I think that was a right call. You still had time and you still had that defense and you blew it. So I feel like that one. So we'll start with you, Douglas. Do you have any thoughts? And what would you give the Buffalo Bills?
Well, I have a couple of thoughts. They should go get AJ Brown. Because with their tight ends and James Cook, like if they could, I don't know, like I just feel like a nice deep threat receiver will do them so well. Keon Coleman seems like he's kind of out the door potentially. I've been seeing different things there. I think that they made the right decision also to move on from their coach. Who did they end up getting? Did they end up promoting Joe Brady?
Joe Brady. They promoted Joe Brady.
I mean, I think that was a good pick. Like he's who I wanted Michigan to get at first. I was hoping that I was like, okay, we'll take a young offensive-minded coach, and so I think Buffalo made the right move there too. I mean, I'll give them a 7 for this year. They won a tough road game in Jacksonville and took Denver to OT. And I mean, them versus New England would have been a heck of an AFC Championship game too.
Yeah, a way more entertaining AFC Championship game than a 10-7 over the backup quarterback for the Broncos. Basically, on the lines of getting a wide receiver, who's also available, Mr. Tyreek Hill. Have him play for the Bills against the Chiefs. That'd be nice.
Hey, Tyreek, you can come back to be a Chief. Just saying.
I mean,
yeah, Stu, we know you love the Chiefs. Probably. I know you would love to see that reunion.
Yeah. But anyway, Tree, what are you about to say?
I mean, as I said, they could. It's realistic.
I think the Chiefs are the top go-getters for Tyreek Hill at the moment. So.
They need a receiver. The problem is with the Chiefs is they've had a lot of issues with drafting. They have the same receiver, and it just hasn't worked. So problem is with Tyreek, you're dealing with a major leg injury. You never know if that quickness is going to come back the way it did, but still, it does make the most sense.
But anyway, Tree, what is your thoughts about the Buffalo Bills? And also, we probably should show the clip about the Mr. Bakula throwing some people under the bus, I should say. That infamous clip.
Pagula loves throwing people under the bus. You kidding me? That's his legendary. Yeah. It's legendary from him, man.
Oh, my goodness. I figured, gentlemen, we got to So I remember the last time when we did this pod, we did not show the clip right over here of the Bakulas on this one throwing one of their players under the bus. So
how many clips were there from that press conference? So there were at least 10.
I just figured I wanted to do this famous one right over here, gentlemen. We can show on the Pagula throwing under the bus because, like I said, never happens in this one in this organization. So I figured we'd show this clip.
Yeah, can I interrupt? I'll address the Keon situation. The coaching staff pushed to draft Keon. I'm not saying Brandon wouldn't have drafted him, but he wasn't his next choice. That was Brandon being a team player and taking advice of his coaching staff, who felt strongly about the player. And, he's taken, for some reason, heat over it and not saying a word about it. But I'm here to tell you the true story.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, I had to grab
throwing teams under the yes. I just
But,
cannot believe it.
I was running away like Terry Pagula did that question. So I'll just leave it at that. No. We didn't draft him. It was the coaching staff. They wanted Keon Coleman. Although there's actual footage of Brandon Beane like actively like praising Keon Coleman. It's like, yes, we really wanted him bad. So you tell me.
Yeah, it just does not make any sense on that one. It's just like, are you kidding me? It's like, I feel like it's like the equivalent of just like going to work and being like, so, before you go, Mr. Manager, worker, I just want to let you know we did not think you were a good employee and we should not have hired you, but it was all like HR people done it. But have fun, but you still suck ass at work. It's like, what? What? It's like, that don't make sense. It does not make sense in this one. Indeed, in this one. Nowhere close in this one, indeed. And then now, we got the San Francisco 49ers right over here, who, you know what? They won the Injury Bowl. They won the Broken Trophy Award right over here. And we'll start with you, Christopher. What is your thoughts on the 49ers, but getting their butts whooped by the Seattle Seahawks?
I mean, we talked highly on the Seahawks all season, or when they started really coming out. I think that was like week 6 or 7 where they really established their dominance. So yeah, we didn't really. I'm pretty sure we all picked the Seahawks to beat the 49ers in that divisional round. And like you said, Stuart, about their injuries, it doesn't matter on their injuries because it seems like the 49ers always found ways to win games, and they beat the frauds of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
Obviously, Christian McCaffrey won. Didn't he win Offensive Player of the Year? I'm pretty sure.
It was MVP like a couple years ago, but as I said, if it's anything, yeah, I don't think.
Because I watched the awards on that one Thursday night a couple weeks ago before the Super Bowl, and he definitely took home a couple awards, but it doesn't matter. I think he actually won Comeback Player of the Year as well. He definitely took home 2 awards that night. Anyways, without CMC, the 49ers are, I want to say nothing, but they got CMC, and he does work. I just hope that he can remain healthy next year because it seems like it's every other year for CMC. So we'll see what they do in the 2026 season. I'm comfortable with the 7. When you go play in Seattle, the home of the 12th man. I've also heard that Seattle, I forgot what their stadium's called. It doesn't matter. It's the toughest stadium to play in worldwide, and we're talking about soccer, collegiate stadiums. Going to Seattle is not an easy thing to do. So I'm comfortable with the 7.
So we'll start with you, Douglas. What is your thoughts on the San Francisco 49ers in this season?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they overachieved for sure. Like, I doubted this team, unfortunately, all the way. And like, I don't know if I ever really changed that. Every time I feel like I had an excuse of why I thought they'd fail. And ultimately, they went down pretty epically, unfortunately. I mean, they were going into week 18 there with a chance at the 1 seed and then just, kind of get beat by Seattle twice pretty bad. Like, that stinks to get beat, like, because realistically, they're probably the 3rd best team in their division, maybe going into next year. But if they get healthy, man, they can compete with anybody. I mean, the injuries were absolutely absurd. And this year, though, they're a solid 7. I mean, they beat the Eagles, which was nice, but unfortunately not very competitive with the Seahawks.
No, not in that one. And then, Tree, do you have any thoughts on the San Francisco 49ers in doing this?
With everything that happened on defense, the fact that they even got as far as they did is incredible. It's another lost season if you think about it, because this is a team that could compete for Super Bowls. That's just the reality of their situation, but the injuries keep destroying them. It happened in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. It happened last year. It happened this year too. albeit with a better outcome, considering you won a playoff game. You had a chance to get the number 1 seed, but you just got routed to hell and back by a significantly superior team. But it just feels like a window that just feels just empty. And it doesn't matter like what you do with it because you're still dealing with the same issues on and off. And at that rate, I don't know what to tell you. It is going to be another year where you're just sitting there looking at like, okay, what are we doing? You may have a few more guys that may go. You don't know if Fred Warner is going to be the same again. I mean, Bosa should be all right, but once again, it's just you're just picking up the pieces again. And I mean, it is a solid season, but that's all I would say.
Yeah. Now it's going to be interesting. So for the Broken Trophy Award, who wins it for this year's 49ers or last year's Lions? Who wins that award?
49ers. I would say 49ers are a dynasty in that regard. So
they're a dynasty of broken trophies and broken and hopes and dreams on that one. Indeed.
Yep.
This one. And then now we got the Houston Texans, where yet again, CJ Stroud wins a playoff game and loses in a sad, embarrassing fashion. Yet again, 3 for 3. So we'll start with you, Tree. What is your thoughts on the Houston Texans on this one, on their season overall?
As I said, their defense was incredible. That defense should have made a Super Bowl. It's just a shame that it even had to go that far, but it just wasn't meant to be, I guess, because their offense, they could never fully figure it out. And CJ Stroud I remember when he had hope his rookie year, and it has not happened. So, yeah, you're going to be looking at that defense as like, how did that not make a Super Bowl? And then you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
It hurts my heart since he's a Buckeye, but that's okay. I'll give him 7 Buckeye hearts right over there. And then Christopher, as the Buckeye lover, as I am, as you are, Christopher.
I'm almost teetering to an 8 because, like I said, the number 1 defense in the entire league. I know the Seahawks had a good defense, but not as good as Will Anderson and the Texans. I've mentioned it on this podcast before. The only person that was stopping the Houston Texans defense from making the Super Bowl is the quarterback CJ Stroud. Man, I wish I could give decimal points. I'd give him a 7.5. But I'm going to go with, man, that's tough. Yeah, because like I said, the defense, hell of a defense, mediocre of an offense. Based on FoxSports.com, they had the 18th best offense. And like I said, you need a yin to the yang, and that offense was not yanging. So yeah, I'm comfortable with a 7. But like I said, like you said, CJ Stroud 3 for 3 in his 3 seasons so far, making the playoffs, making it past the first round. So if I had to put my money on it, I would say the Texans are going to make the playoffs next year.
Yeah, if only he could play in the snow, huh, gentlemen? That was
What?
well,
cheap shot, Douglas, about that. We did beat you in the. We wrote that X in Michigan. Just saying. Just remember that.
Stroud do that still? Did CJ Stroud do any part of that?
You know what? Sharon's moral last game is losing to Ohio State. Just saying.
That's perfect, Stu. Let him be disgraced. I'll give the Texans a 7. Like you guys said, I mean, this defense was elite, but you can't have 15 interceptions in a game.
Right.
That was rough to watch.
It was a rough game.
It was so bad. Like, there was no hope. Like, even though I think they were really close, but it was like, there's no way CJ Stroud can do anything. Like, he looked so rattled. It was like that looked like he was in a game of Madden, and the stadium was shaking on him, and he couldn't he didn't even know what his name was. Like, that was hard to watch.
And it was just pick after pick after pick, and you're just sitting there like, what are you doing, brother?
Yeah, that was rough.
It's almost as bad as Short Sanders in the Pro Bowl game throwing interceptions and pick sixes.
I think this one was more meaningful.
yeah. This game was worth more than a Pro Bowl game. It
There was a Pro Bowl game? What?
It was a flag football Pro Bowl game, not like we grew up watching where there was actually contact in the All-Star game for the NFL, the Pro Bowl game.
Yeah. I mean,
The
I
Pro
look
Bowl games is the way you should say it, I believe.
Oh yeah, true. My apologies. 'Cause, yeah.
I mean, I loved it when one reporter said it best. It's like a bunch of grown men having a pillow fight. That's what the Pro Bowl is.
That's why I didn't watch it.
That's what I watched it. I could.
It was on a Tuesday night, so they know the viewers are down when they have it on a Tuesday instead of a Sunday like it used to be.
I don't think they're trying to fix it either. Like the NBA and the NHL, like how do we make this watchable? And the NFL's like, we don't really care.
Yeah,
We're just like, you'll be fine.
Yeah, the NFL's like, we're the most popular sport in all of America. We make the most money out of the 4 major sports. Our All-Star game is not. We don't care about that.
Yeah.
No, not one indeed. And then next we got the Bears. And we'll talk with you, Douglas. You know, your favorite team, the team that you. Yes. Yes. But we'll start with you, Douglas. What is your thoughts about the Bears in the end of the season? Nobody picked them to make a postseason. It is crazy. I don't think anybody, even Bears fans, was probably picking them winning the division.
Oh, close.
See, I mean, and that's what they're such an interesting team going into next year because it's like, do they build on the momentum? Was it false hope, like some luck, things bouncing their way? Like, is this sustainable? Because if it's sustainable, it's pretty fun. I mean, you know, they got me rooting for them, and it's hard to root for Chicago or any other interdivision teams, but like I found myself pulling for them. Like I was kind of hoping that they would somehow keep it going, knock off the Rams, you know, keep the dream alive. Like I thought they had no chance of going to Philadelphia, and they went in there and they won. I mean, they had a great season, you know, and an absolute classic ending there with the Packers game. So. Solid 7. I mean, they gave everything they had, and they played their hearts out. It was fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Probably the would you agree, Tree, most improved team of the year? Well, no, you probably would say Seattle because they won the Super Bowl. Yeah,
and I mean, I don't know about most improved. I would say probably most improved would probably be the Patriots. You think about it, they went from absolute worst to the Super Bowl. Even for the ridiculously easy schedule, I mean, that has to be the largest jump.
Yeah, I mean, I think in preseason, I gave them a 2. I was like thinking this was going to be like a bottom 5 bad team. And, you know, it's impressive on that one. But anyway, back to what I was talking about the Bears. What are your thoughts about the Chicago Bears?
The Bears, I would say a magical season. They almost did it again. I'm still amazed by that Caleb Williams throw that shouldn't have been anywhere close to a touchdown, where he runs back 30 yards and just yeets it, and it's still a catch. I'm like, what? Okay.
Oh, yes. Oh, thank you for reminding me about that. I was like, oh my God, I totally remember. It was like, he was like, oh, he got sacked, and then he gets that catch. It's like, are you kidding me?
Uh-huh.
I was like, damn, I mean, I'm definitely impressed. It's going to be interesting for the NFC North. I think because everybody's going to be looking good this season. We'll see who's going to be on that top side. But I should probably ask you. You definitely do agree the Chicago Bears should get a 7 for this season.
I agree.
Yes on this one. And then, Christopher, do you have any thoughts?
Man. Like I said, sir, I'm surprised you're not asking me if I still think Caleb Williams is a boss because you always ask me that.
Yes. Oh, I should talk about this, Tree. So literally the end of the first season of Caleb Williams, Christopher made the worst hot take ever and said Caleb Williams
was it after the season? Because I remember us making our preseason picks about the draft class, and I remember 100% that I said Caleb Williams was going to be a bust because he was overhyped. I don't recall it after the season, but
I don't know. You said bust. I've been hearing bust. I checked the tape. I heard some bust.
So that was after his rookie season, and then this season I have not called him a bust once. I actually acknowledge that he is the motivator in the Bears organization. He's the one that put them into the number 2 overall seed in the NFC. Like I'm almost teetering again on giving them an 8 because top 5. I think top 5 offense. Obviously their defense. They're projected to either get a safety or a defensive end in this upcoming draft. Because their defense wasn't the greatest, but I like what I'm seeing. I would give them a 7.5, but give me a 7 because we don't do decimals here. But yeah, I'm close to giving them an 8 because Caleb Williams, he was 58 yards shy of a 4,000-yard passing season. They got DJ Moore through the 2029 season, and we all know when DJ Moore and Caleb Williams link up, magical things happen. They have DeAndre Swift. And like you guys said, the NFC North next season should be up for grabs and one heck of a run.
It's gonna be a fun one. I think honestly, this is gonna be my favorite. Like of all the them in the West, it's gonna be an interesting one for next season. I think that's gonna be the two teams I'm very interested in how that's gonna pan out.
I think it will be. I agree.
And then we got the Broncos. Christopher,
Broncos.
It's a sad day. It is such sad. It's like, man, if they had Bo Nix, if he just wouldn't got injured, man, it's just like such a disappointment because I think it would have been interesting to see them against Seattle. Number 1 versus number 2 best defenses. Like, who would have? What would have been that game? But we'll start with you, Christopher. How do you feel?
What was it? Jared Stidham. He was the backup and then the starter for the AFC Championship game. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
And we mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about the Bills. If the Bills would have beat the Broncos, it would have been 100% a way better AFC Championship game because that AFC Championship game was boring. It's cool that I picked the 2 touchdown getters, Cortland Sutton and I can't think of his name now. Wow, drawing a blank. Patriots, Drake May. Anyways, Broncos. Let's ride. Bo Nix will be back next season. Because we don't want Jared Stidham over there. They made it to the AFC Championship game, and if it wasn't for a Bo Nix injury ending his season early, well, not early but late, I would give them a 9. Because we had to give we don't have to give the Patriots a 9, but they made the Super Bowl, and like Tree mentioned, and as we all know, they almost had a cupcake schedule. The Patriots did. This is another team that I'd like to teeter on the 9. But I guess I'll give them the 8 because they didn't make the Super Bowl. Sure, they made an AFC Championship game, but they had a 14-3 season, which is why I want to give them the 9, but I'll keep it as an 8 because this team going forward should be magical.
Yeah, I mean, so close to like a perfect season. Like they would have given the Seahawks for sure. Well, not for sure, but I think they would have given them a better game than the Patriots. Obviously, they had the 1 seed home field advantage for a reason, and what a kind of crummy way to end the season. Because, I mean, they had chances, too. Their defense held them in it. They gave them every chance. But I think you got to go with an 8 here. Like, you had home field advantage. It's still a game that you could have won. And if you did win, obviously, it'd be a solid 9.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, in this one, and it just kind of stings because I just feel like they could have done better. It just feels like, man, if they had Bo Nix, it would have been interesting. Like, it's like the NFL what ifs, in that one. So then we'll start with you, Tree. Do you have any thoughts on the Denver Broncos in this season?
I think the problem is I am a little more I would say more tempered on my expectations with the Broncos. I don't know if they would have truly won that game per se. The only thing about Bo Nix is that he wouldn't have made that mess up that Jared Stidham did earlier on. I think a combination of that. And Sean Payton was the one that kind of undid them too. Remember that 4th and 1. They kicked the field goal, the game's tied. It's not a 10-7 game, it's 10-10. And the problem is with being unable to take the points there and the weather conditions, I think it stopped every offense. So even then, I think it just exacerbated Denver's issues. But at the same time, they did have a ridiculous amount of just unsustainable 1-win games. Or like 1-score win games, kind of like the Chiefs last year. I think their defense is going to do better, but there will be some correction there. So my question is, it does feel like it's kind of a lost opportunity, but I don't know. They wouldn't have beaten Seattle. It would have just been a thorough whooping there too. So I think I would give them roughly I would say a 7 or an 8. I would say.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
I mean, they did have they did have a good season. Their defense is really good, but I was never really sold on their offense, especially on a lot of games where it just felt like they were struggling off the bat. It's like, I don't think they're winning Super Bowl with Peyton. There's my hot take.
Oh, that is a very interesting hot take. Would I agree? I think I'm 50-50 on it. on that hot take. I feel like that they could, but also I could see them screw it up.
All I have to say is anyone who has won a Super Bowl in a previous destination has not won in their second location.
Yeah, that's true. Even my favorite coach, Jimmy Johnson, they couldn't do it in Miami. They're saying on that one. So we'll see how the Broncos country lets ride for next season. And then we got the L.A. Rams, because Douglas, you love Stafford. You're pretty much.
I certainly loved him when he was in Detroit, dude. Now I'm a golf guy. Stafford, go finish your career, man. Like, that's great. Like, do your thing. But I don't know. Not the same.
I mean, how are you going to feel if Stafford wins the Lombardi? And then, and I remember, Tree, in these Twitter streets, people were like, oh, it's Stafford's fault that this team sucks in Detroit. Oh, it's Stafford. I'm like, when they won that first Super Bowl, I was like,
we called him Stat Padford, but as I said, he wasn't like helping his own cause in a lot of ways.
No.
I mean,
no,
he knows the organization, and we know that we finally revamped, and we got the organization where it needs to be. Goff's our guy. And honestly, Lions are really close. The Rams are obviously really close too. I mean, they're just like a bounce here, a bounce there away. I mean, Sam Darnold had some crazy games against them, unfortunately, and they kind of needed Sam Darnold to play perfect, lose, and they ran into a perfect Sam Darnold. So, like, a huge bummer, man. I mean, great season. Puka Nacua, maybe the best receiver in the NFL. JSN might be like, nah, it's me. But, like, man, they're close, dude. Like, these two teams are so evenly matched. And I think I said in the middle of the season, whoever wins this Thursday night game and gets home field advantage is going to be the one that goes. And sure enough, man, the Seahawks won that game, down 16 points late, got home field advantage, and that might have been the difference in this team that made the Super Bowl. Like, they were so close. But I mean, you got to give the Rams an 8. I mean, you could make a case potentially for a 9, but like, they also had some weird faulty games late too that kind of, you're like, I don't know what was going on there. Random lost the Panthers in a close opening playoff win against the Panthers. So it wasn't quite clicking as much as it was early in the season at the end.
No, on that one. And I guess we'll start with you, Tree. How do you feel about the L.A. Rammies?
I'm going to be honest here. The special teams undid them. There were a lot of issues on that end for a majority of the year. Like, remember the Philadelphia game, the 2 field goal blocks. They had a bunch of field goal misses. They cut their kicker. Then they brought in a new guy, the thicker kicker. They fired their special teams coach immediately after the Seahawks collapse in Week 15, which was pretty much the handing of the baton. It was the Rams Super Bowl to win to the Seahawks were the team to beat. And it undid them in that game too. It was the 2 muff punts. One of them was lost for a turnover. That's what did them in.
Yeah,
it was kind of like, you remember the Packers a couple years ago. It was, I think, 5 years ago, and then their special teams was what undid them. Same thing.
Oh, yeah. It was against the Buccaneers, if I remember correctly. Was it that game? Yes, and it was just like...
No, it was the 49ers.
Oh, yeah, the 49ers. Yes, that was the 49ers game. Oh, yes. I was just like, man, that's just like... It just stinks. But the Rams did have a good season. I'll give them a lot of credit. This was a very tough division, and you probably agree, Tree. You probably give them the solid 8 for this season.
Yeah, I would too. Just as I said, it's kind of a lost opportunity once again, but you take what you can get.
Yeah, and that is also a good question. I know we talked about it last time when the Rams got eliminated. How long do you think we have until Stafford basically retires and that one? That's a very interesting. He's 37, 38 going to be, I believe, for this season.
Yeah, he just turned 38 February 7th, so he's a young
38.
Yeah, the question is how long can his body last? Because there was a lot of questions with his back and his arm. So as long as that can hold up, I think he'll be okay. But I think the Rams are going to start looking for their future quarterback in this draft or the next one.
Yeah,
could be Ty Simpson.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting on that one. I definitely do think, though I will say it, I think the last 2 years, this year, Stafford definitely is going to probably be in the Hall of Fame. I think in this, just for this Rams season, I think in my opinion on that sense. And I have to say, Douglas, yeah, I will say it. I think if he goes into the Hall of Fame, it should be for the Rams. I'm sorry.
You say it every time, and we say the same thing every time. I know.
Listen, the success was with the Rams. The Lions, he was okay. Yeah.
Cool story.
Yeah, we'll see if Ty Simpson makes it down that far in the draft because the Rams have the 30th overall pick. I've seen the Jets might be interested in Ty Simpson. The Steelers might have a case for him, maybe. That's what I've seen as well. Just reading facts. But yeah, Stafford 4,700 passing yards. They got Puka Nacua with another 1,700 receiving. Kyron Williams 1,200 rushing yards. And I was watching this speech when Stafford won MVP. He said, "Guys, we're ready to run it back. Let's go get the Super Bowl 2026." Well, technically it'd be the year 2027, but it's for the 2026 season. This is a team like Doug said. I'd be closer to giving them a 9, 8.5, but I'm gonna give them the 8. If it wasn't for the Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks, we'd be looking at the Rams in the Super Bowl against I guess the Patriots, but there's no parallel universe that we can see into. We'll keep them at an 8 because the Rams, I think they have all the components of a good team, and we'll see them back in the playoffs next year.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the Rammies can finally get that hump to another Super Bowl again. Indeed. And then we got the New England Patriots, the team that made it to the Super Bowl but lost to the Super Bowl badly. Probably was not the greatest Super Bowl. I mean, we all know we're probably going to give them a 9. But how do you feel, Tree, about the most improved team in the NFL right now?
I think there are some questions they need to ask. Will Campbell was hurt, so there's going to be some concerns about that moving forward. He did have a terrible postseason, though. It was obvious he was not moving the way he should, and it absolutely showed in a strong majority of the games. So, as I said, it's you just have to figure out, okay, where do we go from here? They've had an outstanding year. This is a year they're going to remember. They have pieces to move on for the future. Christian Gonzalez is the only reason why that game wasn't even more of a blowout. But now Drake May is going to be called the schedule. He is a meme now. It's just how it is. Because as fair or not, he's going to have to overcome that. Remember, Sam Darnold had the McDonald's memes last year about how he couldn't perform in a big game. He overcame that. The only way he can win it is with a ring.
Yeah. And it is going to be interesting, I will say, Tree, because next year, 100%, Patriots are going to have a tougher schedule. And this is going to be the test, I feel, for next year. Because I feel like the naysayers, the negative Nancys right over there, were all like, oh, Patriots only got here because of soft schedule. Even though I remember when we did our contender series, Tree, when we did our week-to-week.
They beat the crap out of some really good teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they beat a lot of good teams. And in the regular season, there was a lot of teams like the Buccaneers, the Ravens. They should have been tougher opponents, but turns out they collapsed. So I feel like it's more a collapse on other teams than I would say they just easily cruised their way. But as always, Tree, you definitely feel like this is a solid 9 team that made it to the Super Bowl on that one. And then we'll start with you, Christopher. What is your thoughts?
Give me a 9 as well. This team really proved us, especially like you guys just mentioned, the playoffs. They beat the Chargers, Texans, Broncos. All 3 of those teams have top 5 defenses. So good job, Drake May and the offense for the Patriots for being able to, they beat the Chargers by 13. They beat the Texans by double digits in 12. Yeah, like I said, that AFC Championship game was boring. But nonetheless, and I misspoke earlier. I said that the Texans had the longest win streak in the NFL this season. That was incorrect because it's actually the Patriots. They had a 10-game win streak during the middle of the season. Yeah, sure, they were teams that easily beatable, like the Browns were in that mix of that 10-game win streak. So we'll see how they can do it next year. Like I said, they deserve the 9. They did what they needed to do to make the Super Bowl. So good job, Patriots, and even a greater job with the coach of the year in Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I mean, it is a shame that Drake May's shoulder was questionable going into it too, because I mean, there were definitely throws that you would expect him to make in that game that he was just missing, whether that be from how good Seattle's defense is or if there was a lingering injury, unfortunately. Because I mean, I do unfortunately think that the memes are going to be fair because of just how historically easy the schedule was. And, their playoff run, they got a backup quarterback, a team with like granted, like, but they still took care of business. They won and they deserve to be in the Super Bowl with all that said, but show it to us next year. Show us that this wasn't a fluke. Show us that, because I mean, you played some good teams and you played good against those teams, but 9 is well deserved here.
Yes, that's an interesting one for the 9 for the Patriots indeed. And then we got the final team. That's the champions. You have Sam Darnold finally getting his redemption arc of getting a Lombardi. And you have Mike McDonald's, and he's loving it with those Lombardis. So we'll start with you, Christopher.
This team deserves a 10. We're talking highly about them pretty much all season long. Hats off, like I think I said in last week's podcast, maybe 2 weeks ago. Hats off to the Big Ten. Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker coming out of Michigan State University. This team was dominant. 6th best defense in the league, 7th best offense in the league. And like I always say, when you have a good offense with a good defense, you're going to get good results. And they had a great result in winning the Lombardi. So hats off to the Seahawks.
Well, I love their philosophy right now. Like where, Geno just like doesn't happen. And then there's like, okay, like we have a good enough team where, we don't need a franchise QB. Maybe Darnold will become that now. I hope he does for his sake after winning a Super Bowl and an amazing season. But it's like really like the way that they're running things is smooth right now. And Mike McDonald is so disciplined, and like I was reading something about his like offseason program last year, and like the players didn't like it, but he was like, we are going to be well conditioned, and he was pushing them so hard. And like it showed off, man. I mean, they are incredibly disciplined. Like the defense was so well coached. And I mean, honestly, Sam Darnold really solid, overcame all the narratives about him. Minnesota's got to be kind of bummed, man. I mean, Darnold's the man.
Yeah.
You say JJ McCarthy's not the man? Come on.
No, I mean, he wasn't the man last year. He still could be the man.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, Tree, what's your thoughts on the Seattle Seahawks winning their second Super Bowl?
Ooh, well, as I said, it's their defense. I call it the dark side for a reason. I really wanted Mike McDonald as my head coach, especially for the Steelers a couple years ago. But unfortunately, like as I said, he wasn't going to go in division, and Seattle claimed him first. But he did a phenomenal job with that defense. He was giving them different looks. He was actually moving guys in zone coverage and like trying to like mass coverages. He did it phenomenally. He made Drake May see ghosts. He did that to a bunch of different defenses and just spanked them just heinously. I mean, the Rams, they kept up for the most part, but still it was a situation where Sam Darnold was able to have his Jim Plunkett arc. He overcame the narratives. He was looked at as a bust for a long time, and he led a team to a Super Bowl. And as I said, he didn't really have to do much in that like playoff run for the most part, but still, he didn't make mistakes, and that's all he needed to do. So I think at that rate, it's a season they're going to remember for a long time. I don't know if it's Legion of Boom good, but it was a really good defense.
It was a very good defense, and like I said, they get the redemption out of the last time they played against the Super Bowl with just Malcolm Butler. They should have given the ball to Marshawn.
Well, as I said, I like to think of it this way. Let's remember it for the incredible Jermaine Kearse catch that happened beforehand that led them to that situation. That's one of the greatest catches that's forgotten. That and the Julio Jones catch in 28-3. Those are the two I remember the most.
Oh, that was a beautiful catch right over there. Now that's interesting.
And then they passed the ball on first down.
Why? Now it's interesting. I should probably say that we always do this at the end of the year. For this decade, we should rank all the teams that have won the Super Bowl, starting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Brady, all the way to the Seattle Seahawks. And this is always a fun one. We always do this. What would you put, gentlemen, your rankings on? Where would you put Seattle in this one? I remember last year we put Philly as the best team. Where would you put this team right now, Douglas?
That's a good question. Man, like I feel like I have too much recency bias to fairly answer this, because I really started liking this team around week like 4 or 5, and like they they were so good in so many games that they were just like dominant throughout the course of the season. I mean, my initial thoughts like second or third is probably where like a fair spot would be. Like they're close to last year's Eagles. I mean, their run was very dominant. I mean, they went 41-3 against the 49ers or something ridiculous like that. Like
it was
they left. Yeah, they left little doubt, and like they dominated the Super Bowl. So I mean, they could make a strong case for 1 too, I think, but I'd probably say it's 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's what I'd probably put him. If I had to put it in my rankings, and I just like thought about it because it's arbitrary and reductive, as always, as all rankings are. I would probably put the weakest would probably be the Buccaneers with Brady. I hate to say it. I feel like that was probably the weakest. Then the second time with the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, when they won the third Super Bowl. Then there's the second Super Bowl for the Chiefs. Then it's like a tough toss-up between those three, the Rams, the Eagles, and the Seahawks. I'd probably put Rams at number 3. I hate to say it, I'd probably put the Seattle Seahawks at number 2, and then I'd probably put the Eagles at number 1. Just because I felt like there was a lot more dominance in that sense. I mean, there was only one game. I feel like they were close. I mean, granted, Seattle was dominant also in this season.
Seattle also had a close game at home against the Rams. That sounds like a very similar prediction from last year's playoffs.
Yeah, last year. Similar position.
Against the Rams.
Yes.
Yeah, I would have to really do research on this. Last 10 Super Bowl winners. Because the Buccaneers with Tom Brady, that was, they beat they beat the Chiefs, 31-9. Yeah, and then Super Bowl 56, the Rams versus with Joe Burrow and the Bengals, with the Rams winning by 3. Yeah, I would have to really do research on ranking the last 10 Super Bowl winners. But yeah, Seattle, this, like Doug said, the recency factor, going over the most recent winners. I would have to really dive in and do the research on, going back to Super Bowl 50 and above to see how those teams played out in the regular season, how dominant they were. Because, we can talk about the Seahawks right now because it's the most recent Super Bowl winner. Because, this Seattle Seahawks team they were taking care of business left and right. But I couldn't give you a firm answer like what my top 3 are of the last 10. I just couldn't do it off the rip. I would start looking this up later, like, oh, why did I not think of this or that? So I just can't give a definite answer.
Yeah, I don't know. What were your thoughts about that, Tree? What would you think in this decade? Who is the best team in the Super Bowl era for the 2020s?
I would probably have to say the Eagles last year. They were just a dominant team, even like with the weakness at head coach. I think they were just a phenomenal team, loaded with talent on every single position. And they were just nigh unstoppable in so many aspects. I would say like Seattle would be up there, but once again, as I said, the defense was just, especially at edge, dude. They were loaded, and I think, as I said, they just had too much to like bleed out, and there was little that anybody could do about that, and they were just elite.
It was elite. Indeed, in this one. And look at this, gentlemen. We have our final podcast for the NFL season for 2025-2026. Woohoo! We did it, boys. It is great right over here. So for us, we're going to probably talk about, for next week, we're going to go into the off season. I don't know if you enjoy the off season, Tree, but I enjoy it because, we're going to talk about March Madness. We're going to talk about hockey season.
Wolverines and Pistons, Stu. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, Wolverines number 1 college basketball. The Wolverines are high up there for college hockey. Wolverines are getting things
number
done.
1 in the Eastern Conference with a huge game in New York tomorrow.
Yeah, and don't forget about those Olympics that are currently going on. Let's go USA.
Oh, what a beautiful game of sports.
So,
Spring training next Saturday.
Yeah, so for us for next week, we're going to talk about the Olympics, and especially we'll talk about the hockey, which I'm going to be excited. Hopefully it's going to be USA versus Canada. Tree, do you have any final thoughts and any other things?
Well, I am looking forward to hockey. Honestly, that's all I'm saying right now. The Olympics are going on head first. I'm working on Haters Guys, the Eastern Conference and Western Conference. And otherwise, just wanted to give just a thank you to each and every one of you for having me on. I mean, it's an honor to be on again. Thank you. Once again.
And we appreciate you spending an hour and a half of your time with us. So thank you, Tree. Appreciate it.
Hey, what's wrong with that, man? I appreciate you.
Yeah. It's so great that you came back. I mean, it's such an honor. Like I said, we're all a bunch of goobers. I always say I'm just a schmuck right over here.
We're all schmucks, dude. Let's be real.
Yes.
I'm the epitome of a schmuck. Give me that crap.
Hey, I will say I'm a badge of honor to be in the hack fraud. Just saying. I put it as a badge of honor, as always.
Amen.
Hopefully next season, all 4 of our teams will be in the playoffs. Not only 25% of our teams.
Yes. It will be everybody but the Browns. I'm just saying.
Hey, I'm okay with that. Like I said, as a true Browns fan,
okay.
bleeding orange and brown, we expect nothing but the worst for the Browns organization year in and year out.
Though, funny enough, Chris, random tangent before we go. So when we do our next season for the 2026 NFL preseason, the first thing we're going to talk about is the Cleveland Browns.
And Deshaun Watson, baby, comeback player of the year. Let's do it.
As
All
always.
in.
Are you sure you don't want to deal with Pro Bowler? The Pro Bowler, Shedeur Sanders.
Hey,
Right.
we'll split the season 8 games, 9 games, or maybe first half, second half of each game. Watson to give us a 30-point lead at half, and then Sanders to take care of it. Throw some pick sixes in the second half, make it a close game.
Yeah, let's throw Dylan Gabriel in there just for fun.
That's another quarterback that's going to go from team to team. I said last week, Anthony Richardson, he's going to be one of those quarterbacks that's going to jump from team to team. I can see Dylan Gabriel being the same. But, hey,
Dylan Gabriel can't throw more than 15 yards.
Don't open those can of worms.
Yes, as always. But anyway, gentlemen, thank you so much for this week's podcast. And as always, I'm going to catch you later, Mr. Gators. So as always, take care. Bye-bye.